In this video, I'm going to put a handbrake assembly in and I'm going to put a shifter riser in. Well, it's another day, and another thing I'm doing here is I am putting handbrake assembly in. I've taken out the seats there and I've marked out the floor where I want this handbrake assembly to go. I've drilled a couple of holes here and I'm going to angle grind this square section out here so that this little thing here can go through the floor. It'll go to a rod and a bolt and go to the handbrake cables. That'll go to the rear discs. Easy peasy, hey? Now I've got this hole cut out here and all filed up neatly. The handbrake assembly will go straight in there. I'll put some bolts in that just to show you how that works in a sec. But what I do want to show you is the back here has no bolts that bolt into the chassis. So that'll be my next point of call, to put two bolts right in the back there to hold the body down. I mean, it already has the middle ones that are under this plate, and it has front ones in here that you've got to get to from underneath. Well, here's a sight. I haven't had this floor section out in a very, very long time. But with it out, I'll be able to see where I'm going to put these bolts through here and into the chassis rail on both sides there. So I'll drill a hole right through the middle of that and into the chassis rail. Nice big long bolt in there, and you'll be able to get to it with access through that hole in behind here on the chassis. I might even get adventurous and put a captive nut in behind there, but I won't be able to do that until I turn the chassis rail over, and that means body off, blah blah blah. What I'll also do is put a crush washer through here, obviously one on the other side as well, so that when we clamp this body down, we don't crush this tube here. And I don't see the likelihood of it actually happening, but I think it's the right thing to do. So I was about to drill the hole and realised that I can't get my drill in here. There's just not enough room. So I've come up with another idea. What I'm going to do is put some plates in here, like so, drill a hole, nut and bolt, pretty much like the one I did here. Well, that one's not finished yet. It's just sort of tacked on. I have to weld it up properly. But if I do one of them there, one on the other side, it'll be plenty to hold it down. Well, there we have that gusseted plate there, and another one for the other side there. I'm just going to MIG these up now. So I've got a decent weld on there, and I've got one over here. When I flip the car over, I will weld underneath there, but that's fine for now. All I've got to do now is just grind off the top of this weld here and on the other side here, so that I can put the floor in and it still sits flat. So now I've got that weld grounded down, I'll just put a little bit of primer on that and then I'll reassemble the floor again. Get all the seats in and show you what this handbrake looks like. Right, so I've got this handbrake bolted in. It sits nicely just between the two seats there. And my daughter is going to show you how you can just grab it, pull it up, nice and easy. Look at that. So the next thing I'm looking at is this shifter. Now I got this some time ago when I did an unboxing of it. I mean, ultimately it's supposed to bolt all the way down here on the floor, but it's just way too low. And although it would be right out of the way of your driving experience, I just think it needs to be up here somewhere. So I've got this box of it lying around, and I reckon this is just the right height to drive this thing. But I don't want to use this. I might use this for something else later down the track. I've looked on eBay, I've looked online. There's nothing out there that I really like. And although I did find one thing that looked pretty cool, and it had Chevrolet written on the side of it and everything, it was just too expensive. It was in the States, it was going to take too long to get here. So I thought, you know, I'll just make my own. So we're going to make this sit up here somewhere. I've marked out some 2.5mm steel. I'm going to cut them all up and just weld them all together and see how it all turns out. Hang around and see what I get up to. Well, with a few plates made up, time now to do some bending and a bit of welding. But I want to see if I can make this look prettier than just a simple box. Well, I've bent up some little legs in the background here. And again, you've seen me do that sort of stuff in other videos. But the next step would be to weld along here and put some welds along here. But this is a boring box. So I'm going to come up with some sort of design on here, drill some holes and make it a little more attractive when it's in the car. So what I'm thinking about is cutting the sides here to a shape, which I just use the bucket, both sides, and drilling some big holes. One here, and one over here. And then drilling a series of holes all the way around. I think that'll look okay. So I've just cut these up with the angle grinder and I'm going to put them on the Lenisher now and I'll make it all look pretty. Well, that tool makes that so much easier. Look at that. All cleaned up, ready for the next step. So here I go, drilling a couple of holes. I'm sure you don't want to watch this, so I'll just show you this when it's finished. Well, there's a bunch of holes drilled, and it kind of reminds you of a spread bore adapter plate. Anyway, next is just to clean this all up and maybe drill some holes all the way around it. So I've done a whole heap of pilot holes all the way around here at about a 50mm spacing, and I'm going to drill them all out to about 5mm. I might go up to 7 and then maybe even up to 8, but I'll see what it looks like first. Let's go. You know, I don't mind this at 5mm, but I think I'm going to step it up to 7mm and see how it looks then. Okay, this is 7mm and I like it just like this. Time to drill a couple of holes down on the feet and weld it all together. Now with this all mocked up, you have to say that this looks a hell of a lot better than it did earlier on with just the box and no holes. This adds a little bit of character to it. Well, I've got this all welded up now. I'll give it a little bit of a clean up and we'll see what it looks like in the truck. Well, there she is. It's just sitting in the car at the moment. And for a backyard hack, I reckon that looks cool. It looks a hell of a lot better than just using this old box here. The best thing is, when I sit in the truck, it's right there. Nice and easy to grab and change gears, chuck it in park, whatever I need to do. Anyway, guys, that's a wrap for this vid. Catch us later.